Good evening. Welcome out there. I guess the first thing I need to address, by the way, my name's Sam Ferrara. I'm a full-time professor of practice. I've taught this course a couple times. At this time, I've only taught in the MBA program. I haven't taught the undergraduate. Down the road, I might. My background is about 25 years of sales management, upper management, senior management positions in the automotive aftermarket industry. In 2000, I decided I needed a change. I did an MBA like you guys in 1 year. I went 4 nights a week, but it wasn't asynchronous. And that was time to go back to work, and I said, you know, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So I said, no, I want to do something else. So I went to Australia, because I always wanted to go to Australia, and I kept going back to Australia. And then one day, the sun came out from under a cloud. It was my mom, and she said to me, you need to teach. So I went back to school at UAlbany. I got my PhD in organizational studies, which is interdiscipline approach to business. And I've taught at a couple other schools, and now I'm here at Utica. And I'm from a small town called Clyde. I don't know if anybody's heard of Clyde. Do you know where the outlet mall is? Everybody knows where the outlet mall? That exit go 8 miles north, and that's where my little town is. Also, we have a casino at that exit. The first private casino went up at that exit. Instead of turning right to go to the mall, you turn left, and right over the thruway is a casino. All right, so I owe you guys an apology. How many people had problems getting the textbook? How many people got a textbook by Kotabi with a K? Are they chiming in?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, a few online folks are agreeing that they're having the same issue.
Okay, I might have to talk to each of you individually. How many that did buy the Kotabi got it at the bookstore? The bookstore didn't update the correct information for our textbook. If you start reading the Kotabi textbook, you'll understand why I switched the Kotabi textbook. All right? I went with another textbook, and we only can do it through McGraw-Hill Connect, because textbook these days, now they're not putting the case studies in the textbooks. That's one reason, okay? And a second reason, I thought we could do our quizzes right on Connect. All right, and we're going to have quizzes. I think we have 4 in the first semester. Let me go through the syllabus, all right, talk about the syllabus. And then let me talk about how to get the textbook. And then we'll do a short PowerPoint on Chapter 1. You don't really need to know much from Chapter 1. If you read the wrong book, I'm sorry. Okay? And then we'll have a breakout session. I also want to go through teams today, what our teams will be. Okay? Can we open, if we go down to the briefcase, here's our class site. And if we go down to the briefcase, all the way down the bottom. Yep. And we have 2 things in there. We have 3 things. Don't mind the grading. We're going to open up course syllabus and class schedule. And let's just go through the class schedule, course schedule first, okay? This is easier. All right, so this is very easy. The course schedule is all on one page. It shows what assignments are due. All right. We will be doing team projects. I think there is a peer evaluation. I'm not sure if there is on the first 8 weeks. All right. In the first 8 weeks, we're going to be doing some chapter quizzes. We're going to be doing some case studies, and we're going to be doing a team project, which is a regional marketing analysis. Okay, that's going to be the big project. And the first half of the textbook is going to help us understanding what we need to put in that. All right? And that's going to be done, it's actually going to be doing videos, and that'll be due the last week. And I'll show, each team I'll show 1 video. We have a rather large class. I thank you for bringing in laptops, those of you came. We're going to have 7 groups of 5 people in each group. All right? Let's close this. So here's our, you can make that a little bigger if you can. I hope you all went through this a little bit. I want to go down to page down. Here's some of our learning outcomes. I don't need to go through them. All right. The second half, we'll have another team project, and it's going to be a simulation. And I got instructions how to buy this. Don't buy this until I tell you to buy it, okay? The bookstore has it for $73. If we buy it direct from the company, it's $39. That's going to be a team where you're actually going to be marketing products to the Chinese, Japanese, Korean markets. But, so the first class is, the first semester is what do we need to know about global marketing? The second part is about doing global marketing, all right? Here's what I want to do, and I didn't do it too well already. I'll regrade and respond to your assignments within 1 week of the due date. I'll log in and check our course at least once a day during the week, at least once on weekends. My goal is to empower you to be successful in the course. Let's page down a little farther. Here's some student expectations, okay? No extra credit work, you're not going to need it. Let's go break down to what the class activities. Here's some guidelines for team projects. You know, everybody work together. Let's go into the, right into the course activities, farther down. Okay, so here's, I put both for 641 and 642. We're going to have 5 chapter quizzes. I think there are 20 questions, and they're going to be right on Connect, okay? I like to call them knowledge assessment quizzes. Just my idea to make sure we're not going to be going through PowerPoints every class. We don't have time for it. A lot of what we're going to be doing in class is discussion-oriented on the case studies and working on your team projects. Okay, I'll give you time to work on your team projects. We have case study summaries. This is where you're going to have to do a summary of the case. I think I set up to 3/4 of a page. It can be, don't make it more than a page. It can be a half of a page. Just convince me you know what the case is about and what are the key factors in it, okay? We also have, I got a mistake there. It says 4. I forget if we're doing 3 or 4. We're doing responses to case study questions. Now this is interesting. I'm going to give you time when we have a case study. The day you bring in the summaries, they're due on Sunday night. Everything's due Sunday night at 11:55 p.m. You'll do the case study summaries, and that class will have a breakout session with your team. And as a team, you can work on the case study questions. And each team only has to submit 1 responses to the questions.
Okay, for each team, the response to case study question.
Yeah, but I want your names on it, all right? So we're going to have Google Hangouts. We'll have 7 Google Hangouts for you to work on it. I say individual grade here because those who do not attend the live class, either in class or asynchronous through WebEx, they have to submit the question and answers themselves, okay? We're going to have no free rides. You either do it with your team or you submit it yourself, all right? I don't like to punish the people that come to class, all right? We have a team contract, which we'll work on today, and teams that is due next week. We have a regional marketing and analysis project, which is a team grade. There's actually going to be an executive summary portion of it, and then there's going to be 4 videos that go with it. So let's page down further. We don't have to worry about, I think you're going to get 5 free points because I think there's only 3 case studies in. Can you go up just a minute? I think there's only 3 responses to case studies, so I think you're going to get 5. Oh, okay, it says 15. That should be a 3 there, all right? Let's page down. I want to go to the individual assignments. Okay. So again, chapter knowledge assessment quizzes. 20 questions, multiple choice, right on the Connect, okay? Case studies, it says, case study analysis will take place during the live class. Each student is required to submit a 1-page summary of each case assigned on the Sunday night prior to the class is going to be discussed. So when our first case study is due, it's right on the schedule. I think it's the third week that you'll have to, no, it might even be the fourth week. I think it's the fourth week. All right? Responses to case study questions. This is where I just talked about. We'll do it in class as a team. You'll have time to at least start on it. I'll probably try to give you at least a half hour. All right? And if you come to class or you participate in your Google Hangout, you're part of a team submission. If you do not come to class or you're not part of the off-site taking the live class, you have to do the questions yourself. Okay, so those are pretty self-explanatory, right? We doing okay so far? The next is the regional marketing analysis. So we're going to have teams of 5, and each team is going to have a region of the world. And we're going to do 4 video presentations, and I'll show you what they're about. And we're going to, it's missing something, we're going to have the executive summary, all right? It has an executive summary. But let's go down, I mean. These are the regions of the world that we're looking at. So we have 10 of them, we have 17. What I'll do next week, I'll come up with some kind of order. I'll do it randomly. So one team will get the first choice, another team will get the second choice, and so on until we get 7. All right? Everybody will be doing the same thing, but for different regions of the world. Don't worry about the videos yet. All right? So we have an executive summary submission. All right? 3 pages, no more than 3 pages. All right? Then we're going to have 4 videos. And can you go down to videos? Videos, what you're going to do is send me a YouTube link. You'll create a YouTube account. And I kept the videos. They should be 6.5 to 7 minutes each, PowerPoint type thing with narration. And I kept them at that because you can upload for free that size of video. All right? And there's going to be 4 of them. There's some information on the content. Page down a little, all right? So here's what we're doing on the videos, and we'll go a little more through this in later classes. The first video is going to have 2 things more on infrastructure, general description of the region, okay, populations, relevant trade statistics, that type of stuff. By the way, in the syllabus next week, after this section, it shows some web links. I'm going to go through those web links with you also that I've gotten you to get this information. Second has to do with nature of the infrastructure. We know in Africa it's a what? We won't talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about something. I want to break this up with something else. I've taught this class twice before here at Utica. And each time I taught it before, I gave them a homework assignment for the first class, and I wanted your opinion. And I had like 4 or 5 articles, and some of them were on NAFTA, and then the other one, now I can't even think of the name of the other one. We were going to enter into a trade agreement with China in that area. What was that called? TPP, right? So I had there was articles on protectionism versus global, and I wanted you to give me your opinion. And the emphasis was more towards globalization, but that has sort of slowly changed to nationalism and protectionism. But who knows, right? So I'm pretty pro-globalism. I was pro-TPP, and I think it's going to put us at a disadvantage that it's not. We're not doing TPP. But it was interesting to get students' opinions, because I had some people believed in, NAFTA was a bad thing, TPP is a bad thing, and so let's go back to these. Video 2, so that's what video 1. Video 2 is going to talk about economic environment, and we'll talk about what's important in the economic environment, per capita income, average household income, We're going to talk about the Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient goes from 0 to 1. It has to do with distribution of wealth. Is it equal among all people, or does a few people have a lot of the money? What do we have in the U.S.? 10% or 1% have, how much?
Isn't it close to like 50%? No, I don't know.
I used to do a class in strategy. I still teach strategy, but I did a class before, and I used to do the first class, things you should know that you don't know. And this was like in 2005. In 2005, there was like 110 million households. And I asked, what do you think it took in household income to be in the upper 5% bracket of household income? This was 2005. Guess what it was?
300,000?
You're close. 138,000. Everybody guessed high. So that's to get into the upper 5. But when you go to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 to 1/10, you know what the 1% has 35% of all the net wealth, I think, in the U.S. So, all right, we're also going to do the financial environment. That's going to be mainly on exchange rates and that type of stuff. So that'll be the second video. The third video, we're going to talk about the cultural environment. And we have chapters in the textbook on each of these. Okay? Fourth, we'll talk about the political legal environment. And then the fourth video is going to be about specific marketing information. That's about U.S. presence in the market. Okay? And the last part, the last H, has to do with, all right, from what you had to tell me about A through G, how do we summarize that into H? Okay? Is it a desirable to market to go into or not? But we can't tell it's desirable. It depends on the product, right? Or service you're selling. All right? Here I have, next I have all the web sources for this. And we're going to go through them next week. I'll open them all up and show you what they are. Okay? And if there's enough there that you will not have to do any other research, I don't think. There's going to be enough country information, relevant information to this. All right, let's go farther down. And then this is going to be more 642 on the country manager simulation team project. That's on the team project. Okay. Can we go back to the course schedule just for a second? I just want to make sure. Yeah, there's so we don't have a case study until the 4th week. You'll have to do the Starbucks summary, all right? And then the 5th week we'll do Coke and Pepsi. The 6th week, Not So Wonderful World of Euro Disney. So we'll have 3 case study summaries, and then you'll have 3 submissions as a team if you participate in the live class in the Google Hangout. All right, we'll have 3 of those. And if you don't, you've got to do your own. All right, let's close that. Let's close that. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go down to the conference room, up to the conference room. Okay, let's go down. Keep going, keep going. I want to open up the teams. Let's open up the teams. All right, can you expand that? So I went right down through the roster and just numbered them. So we might need to make that. I'm going to go through the names because I want to make sure I get them right. Team 1 consists of Theodora, Aqua. How'd you say it? Huh?
No, I just said sorry because I'm...
Lewis, Claudia, Rebecca Fleming, Paige Jarvie, and Kimberly Osborne. So your team 1, you will be Google Hangout number 1. All right? Anybody in there? Is that anybody in this? Nope. We got Ryan, Catherine, Annie, Guerrera, Rebecca, and Rashida as team 2. And so team 2, we'll use yours computer if you don't mind. Okay. Team 3, we got Ryan Burnett, Lauren DeWald, David Hill, Jordan Miller, Nathan Scott. No, that's Team 4. I skipped one. Team 3 is Christopher Broccoli, Adam Decker, Morgan Hall, Andrew Manor, and Zachary Schellinger. Right? You're Team 3?
Yes.
Oh, you guys together. Good. Team 4 I named. Ryan, Lauren, David, Jordan, and Nathan. This is a big class, by the way. I'm not used to 35. It's a big number for this class. Team, what am I on, 5? Matthew, Kayla, Carolina, or Carolina? Nicole and Ashton. Team 6 is Derek, Saida. Is that how I say that? Anybody? Saida here?
Yeah, that's her name, Saida.
Saida, William, Emilio, and Daniel. And then Team 7 is Erica, Trevor, Dalton, Sayaka, and Megan. Okay? So those are your teams. If you're on Team 1, you use Google Hangout 1. Team 2, Google Hangout 2, and so on. All right? And we will get into the Google Hangouts today. We have some rooms where we have computers already there, so we can use those computers too. All right? What's next? All right, I want to go to click here to connect, click here to access Connect. This is right again in the first section of our class. All you have to do is enter your email to join this class. Is that what you guys did? All right. I think it gives you 4 or 5 different ways to purchase this. Loose leaf, or did it just give you one?
You have to actually get a loose leaf to get the actual.
Oh, okay.
I think you have to actually get it sent to you in like a loose leaf binder.
Okay. How much did you pay for this?
$125.
$125 is what it should be. Okay.
And you bought it on Connect?
Yeah, you go right there and leads right through it.
Okay.
Just type your email and it leads right through it.
Okay.
For those of you, how many people have bought? Well, I can't. They're not gonna. For those of you that bought the Katavi book, please email me and put your phone number in the email and we'll discuss it, okay? We'll figure out what to do with that, all right? If you bought it from the bookstore, they'll take it back. He was able to buy the Right textbook. Your name?
David.
David bought the Right textbook. He got it from Amazon,
Right.
but he's saying they're giving him access.
Temporarily.
How long is temporarily?
Until the 28th.
Oh my gosh.
Of January.
Well, I think I just have to buy it.
Send me an email, okay? I apologize for this. Both Engage and the bookstore did not do what they should have done. And I didn't catch it. I should have caught it earlier, and I
It's the second time they've done this to me, though, so it's the second time I've had that happen. They've had the wrong book on there.
You know, they asked us to get that information to us. They sent an email. I sent the email back. And then I even talked to them because it was Connect. And there was a third way to do it. Can you go to the syllabus? You gotta go. Oh, you can X out of that.
Aren't we in the course?
Yeah, go back to the syllabus. It's all the way on the bottom.
All the reasons.
And you're doing great, by the way. You should have came to the last class you and I did. I felt so bad for you. All right, let's go down to textbook. Yeah, can you copy that? Yeah, the ISBN number, that 13 number, 978. Will it let you copy it? Might have to put in enable text, enable editing. Yep. And then put it in Google. Google it.
Oh.
Google it.
Google it. Is that what you say?
Google it.
Put McGraw-Hill and then that number.
What did you you bought the book on here, did it let you,
Thank
give
you.
you the option to purchase just the
Alright.
access code? And just
And
one, is it just one thing?
go to the second one.
just the one
It
thing.
was the access code, and then you can buy it.
Click on that, see what I hear.
Oh, so it's 125 just for...
Yeah, but it's got the book on it electronically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is.
See, here it gives you different options. Oh, there are more. Loose leaf print text with Connect, $119.90.
119?
Yeah, but
But,
for the, I'd rather you spend the $6 and do it the other way, okay?
yeah, whatever.
But those of you who have bought the Katabi book and cannot return it, please email me. All right? So we can close that.
Oh, it's
Close Connect. And let's go back to the class, yeah. And then I want to go into the conference room one more time. Page down, all the way. And then again, here's where the link is. Here is where the link is again to get access to it, okay? And I'll be doing PowerPoints on the first 2 chapters, so don't worry about getting behind. And I promise you, if you send me an email, I'll eat it. Put your phone number in it, and we'll talk about it. How much did you spend?
$70.
Okay.
Well,
Well, who said well?
I did.
Oh, well. Yeah, well's not fair to you, okay? All right. In each module, we open up a module, okay? It's going to have chapter slides. They're not necessarily the slides I'm going to go through are reduced, but that's the full set slides, okay? It also tells us a little bit about what we're doing on the right on the top of the each section. You guys know due dates. You know how to submit stuff. Right? It all has the due dates for all of your assignments. You're only going to be submitting on this the case study summaries. Remember, it doesn't have to be a full page. And the case study questions, your executive summary at week 8, and the videos we're going to be doing, you're going to send me a link, a YouTube link, right? The quizzes, you'll take the quizzes online. I will transfer the scores from online to your grade book. Right?
So the only thing we're doing on the Connect is the quizzes.
No, the case studies.
Well, the case studies are on there too, but we submit the case studies, so it's not engaged.
Yeah. But the Connect will also have the text for it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Again, I apologize for that. And maybe I learned my lesson. From now on, I got to check what they have listed on the bookstore.
Online question, just to clarify. If we buy on Amazon, do we get the code for Connect?
I don't know. No. It's a no, because you're only going to get it for like 28 days, right?
Well, you can get any code with the Amazon purchase. Evidently, you have to get a permanent code if you pay the $125 apparently, or
Yeah.
6 months or whatever, and you get the book.
Yeah, I think it is 6 months because it went to January. So.
The problem with Amazon, the textbook, it doesn't have the case studies in it, okay? And since you had to buy the case, we're doing case studies too, 6 of them over the 16 weeks. It would have cost more to have done a custom book than the 125. And the 125 also lets us do the chapter quizzes all in one place.
I can send it back.
Well, you sure?
Was it Amazon you got it through? Is it? How long would you buy it? How long would you buy it?
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, they should be.
Yeah, I'll take it back.
Okay. See if you can take it back, and then we'll talk. But I don't want anybody to be out money for our mistake. All right?
Just take it to the bookstore.
What time is it? 8:06. We got. All right. Let's go to the PowerPoint. Any questions? Does it look like too much work? It shouldn't be. I changed things a little bit from the last. We did different case studies, and we did them more in one day. What I'm going to do with the case studies again, summary. Give me your responses as a team. And then our next class, we'll start that class talking about that case study. We'll just be talking about everybody else. And I do the summaries because I want, when you walk into that Google Hangout or click into that Google Hangout, I want everybody to be able to contribute. All right? How many people do we have online? How many people?
Quite a few.
Does anybody, how many we missing?
5.
5 are missing. Okay. Yeah, maybe 5 out of 35 are missing. I knew one was good. All right, so let's go to the PowerPoint. So this is just an introductory chapter. You can do the slideshow. There were a couple slides I took out after it, but they didn't get out. All right, so
Automatically advanced.
can we think of benefits of international marketing? Just quickly, benefits?
More customers.
Huh?
More customers.
More customers, more opportunities to sell products, right?
More,
Access to, go ahead.
more, sort of hedging your bets. You got more, one country goes to pie, you got a couple hundred others.
Not putting your eggs all in one basket. You're
Exactly.
spreading the risk. That's another one, okay? You can learn more from other cultures, right? You can sell things that are not selling here somewhere else. You can lower your cost, or your cost because you're manufacturing more. You can buy, your raw materials cheaper, probably when you're buying higher quantity. The changing face of U.S. business, that's easy, right? Companies are becoming more global, U.S. companies. Although we're seeing, I don't know how much to believe about it, but we're being told that companies are coming back to the U.S. for manufacturing. I don't know. And it's interesting in buying from China or something, I can make it here or I can make it here in China, and the cost of, or I could buy it here or buy it in China. It's so much cheaper buying it from China. But then you have to deal, it's not always an apples to apples comparison what the cost is. You may have long lead times. You may have to buy a certain amount of quantity. You may have to inspect them when they come in, have some defectives. But more and more, you better be global now, right? Although we're being told that more U.S. companies are coming home. And I know that Mazda and Toyota just announced they're going to put a new manufacturing facility in Alabama. All right. I think Apple said they're going to bring some manufacturing home. The scope of the international marketing stance. We're going to talk about self-reference criterion. Okay. I have self-reference criterion when it comes to politics. It's like we have built-in biases on how we were brought up and what we think. We have biases we don't even know we have biases. Trump could do the same thing Hillary did, and I'd say it was bad when Trump did it, but I'd say it was okay when Hillary did it. Hopefully I wouldn't be that bad. Global awareness, progression of becoming a global marketer. So this whole PowerPoint is on the Engage site for you under Module 1. But I'm doing so first thing I see in this slide is foreign direct investment in the United States is more than $3 trillion. Do you know what foreign direct investment is? Foreign direct investment?
Actual ownership of, or equity, or...
Yeah, that's correct. For companies, international companies or whatever, making investments in the U.S., buying things. All right? That foreign direct investment was an example of that, with just what I said about Toyota and Mazda manufacturing.
Not Apple though, because they're in. Would Apple count too? Because
No, Apple wouldn't count. If Apple invested overseas, I don't know if Apple's partners, but Apple, a much of their stuff is coming from that one factory in China, that one big factory, I forget the name of it. Foxconn. Yeah, but Foxconn, is it Foxconn? Foxconn. Foxconn, C-O-N at the end of it? They announced that they're going to be putting a manufacturing facility in Minnesota or Wisconsin. I don't know if that's really going to happen. Okay? So, companies have to deal with foreign customers, competitors, and suppliers. And dealing with foreign, it's not as easy as dealing just in the U.S. All right? And you also face competition from domestic and foreign firms. All right? There was a chart right in the book, Exhibit 1, about foreign-owned companies, and it can be a surprise some of the foreign companies that are owned, what is owned by foreign. Ben & Jerry's, a UK company. I didn't even know they sold. Budweiser's a Belgian company now. Firestone, Japanese. French's Mustard, UK. You know who used to own French's Mustard? Didn't the, he ran for president one? The Heinz family, didn't they? No, they own Heinz Mustard, I guess. Right? Columbia Pictures is Japanese. Church's Chicken. There's some more. Gerber Baby Food is a Swiss company. Anybody know that? Radio Shack. Did they just announce they're going out of business, Radio Shack? Did they think so? RCA, Random House, Smith & Wesson. T-Mobile is a German company. The Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch. Isn't that Australia? Okay. Here's how U.S. companies, this next chart is going to be U.S. companies, what percentage of their dollars comes from foreign companies? All right, for example, in 10 years, Apple's total revenue skyrocketed from $6 billion in 2003 to $171 billion in 2013, international, okay? So, well, that was their globals. 61% of Apple's revenues come from outside the U.S. 85% of Avon, and so on. Boeing, 56.6%. Ford, 41.8%. So we hear about imports on cars coming to us, but Ford, there's 41% of their businesses external to U.S. Walmart, 29% and growing. Intel, 82.8%. Okay, so DirecTV, even 21%. So these are foreign. Chevron, 75.9%. Our companies, how much percentage of their business is coming from outside the U.S., okay? So here's the definition of international marketing. The performance of business activities designed to plan, price, promote, and direct the flow of company goods and services to consumers or users in more than one nation for a product, okay? And there's some other things that go with it. Has anybody ever heard of the 4 Ps? We know the 4 Ps. We'll talk about the 4 Ps when we get into the second half of the class. We got a product, 4 Ps of market, product, a price, a place, which is distribution, how we're getting it distributed to the end user, and then promotion. We will be doing that in the simulation. Okay. We also have something called STP, the STP model. We're going to segment, all right? We're going to target certain segments, and then we're going to promote to those. Have a plan or whatever we want to call it, all right? But we'll do more of that as we get towards the second, all right? This chart talks about the total environment in international marketing tasks. So that inner circle is firm characteristics, all right? And right there it shows price, promotion, products, channels of distribution. But firm characteristics also talks about my resources I have and routines I do. What I have, both tangible and intangible. Tangible, I can measure dollar amount. Intangible, the Nike swoosh, what's that worth? Okay? And then we have routines. What do we do with our resources? But we can kind of control our firm characteristics. Then we have the domestic environment, and they're saying there's a competitive structure. Who's competing with who, where, how many different product lines. There's political and legal forces. All right, what is the political? You know what one of the biggest businesses in the U.S. is lobbying, right? Either by industry or by company. And then the economic climate. I'm concerned right now that with these people getting more money in their paycheck and some other things, I'm concerned we're going to start seeing inflation, and I think we're going to see interest rates go up too. And I think that'll slow down the economy when interest rates go down rather than actually speed it up as they think it's going. But you disagree with it.
No, I don't. That makes sense.
Huh?
That makes sense.
It makes, oh geez, I made sense today. I'm not, I could be wrong though. So the things in that we'll call this the domestic external environment. We can't control those things, right? So they're out of our control. Now there's the foreign environment. And guess what? If you look around that circle, that's pretty much your 4 videos. Economic forces, political and legal forces, well, that's 2 of our 8 sections. Cultural forces, that's 3rd section. Competitive forces, well, that's going to be maybe in the summary. Geography and infrastructure, that's part of A and B. Level of technology, and what's the structure of distribution. So those are all uncontrollable, all right? And then not only do you have them, but you have them in each market. That way out circle, you have them in each of the markets you're entering into, right? All right. We don't, so again, the inner circle shows what you control. All right, the marketing manager blends price, product, promotion, channels of distribution, and research activities. All right, so we don't need to. All those outer circles were levels of uncertainty. Let's look at it again. So we got our controllable environment, then we have domestic, uncontrollable. We'll talk a lot about that in our strategy classes when you get to that. Anybody taking strategy this semester? You were with me. Did you get the right book?
Yeah.
It was only one. And we were thinking about changing that. We wish it was updated because the case studies are getting old. Then you have the foreign environment, which is what we're going to be focusing. That's what we're focusing on this whole first 8 weeks. All right? And it's going to culminate with those video presentations. All right? And I'll let each group decide which of the videos they want to show in class. So our last class will show 1 video from each team. All right? And then you have all those, that 3rd circle, you have to deal with them from each market. All right? So we don't even need to do that. So we don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. All right? I like that. Economic climate. When you think about climate, what kind of things do we think of for economic climate when we're looking at poverty rate, percentage per capita income? I used to do something very easy. Go ahead.
Well, taxes.
Taxes.
Tariffs, market access.
Mm-hmm. How about, this is more going to be on exchange rates. How about manipulating your exchange rate that we think China's doing? There's an interesting thing called the McDonald's, the Big Mac Index. And there's a Big Mac Index. Suppose I want to trade with your country, and it takes 4 of your dollars is equal to 1 of my dollars. Right? All right, so your dollar is worth 25 cents. Might be called what's your last name?
Campbell.
It's called the Campbell dollar. All right, so yours is worth 4 of yours to 1, 25 cents. So that's telling me if a burger, a McDonald's Big Mac is $2 in the U.S., then it should be $8 in your country. All right? And that means it's in equilibrium. Meaning, and that's more of what we call purchasing power. Is it in equilibrium? And you're going to see about purchasing power index. If it's less than $8, it's only $7, your dollar is undervalued. If it's more than $8, your dollar is overvalued. And we used to, my last classes, there was a whole, we would have a discussion forum. I had discussion forums. You tired of discussion forums, by the way?
Yeah.
They don't have any. There is a nice thing now. Have you seen the discussion forum, the new VoiceThread? VoiceThread is really neat. I did that in my other class. It's good for small classes. But we did a whole comment on the Big Mac Index. Yeah, it's just a useful guide, right? But there's better things. I would like to look at a basket of stuff, right? All right, we got to look at culture. We're going to have to deal with it. We're going to get more and more into this as we get into this. This is just, like I said, an introductory chapter. Okay. Self-reference criterion, that's what I talked about, our biases. An unconscious reference to one's own cultural values, experiences, knowledge as a basis for decision. Everything we do in the U.S. is right. Everything we learn in our way is right. We're biased towards that. We don't. Okay, and that's going to happen in other cultures too. All right. What's it called? Make America Great Again. All right, I can't talk about that anymore. Ethnocentrism, okay, is the notion that people in one's own company, culture, or country know best how to do things. All right, we're going to have to deal with that. Both the self-reference criteria and ethnocentrism make it more difficult to access a foreign market in its true light. We have to really be in that market. All right? All right, I'm going to skip this. I wanted you guys to get into your groups, and we're getting late. All right, so I want to So we have to understand cultural differences. We have to have knowledge of culture, history, world market. By the way, what's the first thing you have to do in any type of marketing? Research, yeah. You better understand what the facts are before you try to do anything. All right? Talks about global awareness. There isn't much here. There isn't. This is phases of international marketing, no foreign marketing, and frequent, blah, blah, blah. All right? So I just want to. This was interesting. It was a KOF Globalization Index. One countries are by 3 different categories. And they had 3 measures. Economic globalization measures, which included trade flows, foreign direct investment, income payments to foreign, tariff rates, and we'll talk about tariffs later. Social globalization, internet users, televisions, telephone, political, and it did it by each country. It was weighted. Basically, they came. Where's the U.S.? U.S. We were 32nd. We had a rating just under 80, where Ireland was first with 91. Ireland and Belgium were most more global. What country is it we want to get people from?
Norway.
Norway. Norway.
Oh, 80, right?
80. All right. So I don't need this. All right. Sorry to go through that so fast. I will spend time with each group every week in their Google Hangout. We'll have time, like I said, to work on these videos, getting information. But what I'd like to do right now, remember, here's your teams. Let's break out. There's some rooms, then there's some other areas, but I'll stop in with each, answer any questions you might have individually. And next week, this team contract is due. Is the team contract up there? It should be.
Might be in the module.
I don't think it is. It should be. Where's the due dates? It should show you where things, go farther down. I think it's on the right-hand side. All right, cool. Here it is. Chapter 4. Put the, all right. Lieutenant course update.
They're not
It's not in there.
It's under module 2.
It's under module 2? Okay, thank you, you were right. There's a team contract, okay? So download it, and then you're gonna have to put it in a Dropbox by next Sunday at 11:55.
So what are we doing in our groups right now?
You're gonna do work on the team contract, you're gonna say hello to everybody, and you probably don't know all your teammates. So the team contract is in module 2. Oh, and again, I owed you one more, Paul. I'm sorry we had to have class on Martin Luther King Day. Wasn't real happy about that, but.
It worked today, so.
You had to work today?
Yeah.
So we got some breakout rooms. Does anybody want to use a room?
Sure.
Yeah.
Spread out. There's 7. I never gave instructions that we're going to come back in the classroom, but for those of you that did, thank you. Email me. By the way, in the syllabus, I put my cell number. I'd rather you call my cell number because I don't check my office number every day. So call my cell and I'll call you back if you have any questions. And I'm going to walk around the rooms one more time. Thank you. See what you can do with that.
Yeah, they'll return it for me, I know that.